In 1993, at the corner of the yard at California Federal Prison, Michael Milken, clad in an orange prison jumpsuit, was drawing spiral curves on the ground with a pebble. A fellow inmate, newly locked up for robbery, leaned over and scuffed at the lines he'd drawn with the muddy toe of his shoe.
Hey, the so-called junk bond king. You ditch your fancy Wall Street yacht and doodle this so minus called cancer cell map here? Has this prison slop addled your brain?
Milken didn't lift his head, his dust-minus streaked fingertips tracing a cell activation pathway, his voice as unyielding as a nail driven into wood.
This is no different from junk bonds. They're all healing tools trodden underfoot. Look, these CAR-D cells can target and destroy cancer cells with pinpoint precision. Just as I used junk bonds to save a failing trucking company back in 1971.
Give me a break. You really had what it takes. Why the hell would you be stuck here?
Milken looked up, suddenly the light in his eyes, cutting through the dull orange of his prison jumpsuit, was bright as the bond certificates he'd hidden in the stove when he was 10 years old.
Because I forgot undervalued things must live within their bounds.
Going back to the summer of 1946 in Los Angeles, the sun was so hot that the asphalt road in the slum could stick flies. In the 15-square-meter back kitchen of the Milken family's deli, the smoke from frying steaks was wafting into the street with his first cry.
Another boy? We already have 4 sons. We don't even have enough bread to share in this shop.
Abe, his eyes are as bright as the polished gold coins you hide under the mattress. He will bring good luck.
Good luck! In this slum, only hard work with your hands is real!
The yellowed page of the Talmud on the wall was curled by the smoke, and the red circled words, "Don't engage in speculation," were like a red-hot branding iron, seared into the heart of every Milken child.
On a Brooklyn afternoon in 1956, 10-year-old Milken rushed into the securities brokerage with the stolen $5 in his hand, the ketchup on his fingertips still not wiped clean. Pointing at the small line of Union Railroad bond on the blackboard, he shouted the words that changed his life like announcing a major discovery.
I want to buy 10 pieces.
Kid, this is junk bond. It could turn into waste paper tomorrow. You should go buy lollipops on the corner, not bonds.
I did the math. Union Railroad S-freight volume increased by 12% last year. The default rate is only 2%, and the yield is 15%. That is more than my dad makes selling sandwiches all day.
Take your waste paper and don't bother me again.
At the Wharton School graduation ceremony in 1968, 22-year-old Milken wore a borrowed suit with sleeves that were a bit too short. His graduation thesis, The Treasure Forgotten by Wall Street, Value Reconstruction of High-Yield Bonds 1940-1968, was thrown to the ground by the professor.
Milken, you are the smartest student I have ever taught. But you want to study junk bonds. These are toilet paper for bankrupt companies.
Professor, Wall Street only sees C-rated, but what I see is that 37 small and medium-sized enterprises survived by relying on junk bonds last year. Undervalued things will eventually shine.
In the winter of 1971 in Manhattan, snow covered the steps of Madison Avenue like white sugar. Milken rushed into the CEO office of Drexel Burnham Lambert, wrapped in a worn coat, the folder in his hand still dripping with melted snow.
Milken, you graduated from Wharton, but you want to be a junk bond analyst? We don't keep lunatics here.
Mr. Levine, I have studied 30 years of junk bond data. The default rate is only 2.1%, and the yield is 15.3%. Last week, I helped the Brooklyn taxi drivers union buy $1,000 worth of bonds, and now they re-up 18%.
Data! Wall Street is about connections. You're an immigrant kid who can't even afford a custom suit. What makes you think you can teach me how to do business? Get out!
Milken stood in the snow, watching the glass door of Drexel Burnham Lambert close. A piece of data paper floated in the white breath he exhaled. The yield curve on it was as sharp and stubborn as the one he drew when he was 10 years old. In the basement of an old office building in Manhattan, New York in 1972. The smell of mildew mixed with the ink smell of old newspapers drilled into the nose. In the 5-square-meter office Milken rented, the springs of the broken sofa poked people's backs, and 3 keys were missing from the typewriter. He was lying on the ground, drawing a bond issuance flowchart in the gap of the Wall Street Journal with a pencil.
Mike, are you crazy? For these waste papers, you returned your apartment and live in the basement. You can't even afford hot coffee.
Lowell, look at this. I helped the trucking company in Queens issue junk bonds. Using the taxi union S-idle money as collateral. The yield is 16%, 3 points lower than bank loans.
Collateral. Why would the union trust you? You don't even have a brokerage license, and the CEO of Drexel kicked you out last time.
With data. Last week I went to Brooklyn to find Union President Williams. He has $200,000 in idle money and is worried about where to put it. He still remembers the 18% I helped him earn last year.
On the day the first junk bond deal was closed, Milken arrived at the conference room an hour early. Union President Williams walked in with the pension money of all retired workers in the union, opened the door and sat down.
Milken, this is the pension money our retired drivers have saved all their lives. Isn't the risk too great? If we lose everything, how can I go back and face them?
Mr. Chairman, look at the data. The average default rate of these small and medium-sized enterprise junk bonds I selected is less than 1%. Plus, I'll cover you with a $500 security deposit. It's completely safe. You get an 18% annual return, 6 times higher than bank fixed deposits.
That's what you say, but I need to think about it more.
Trust me on this. You only need to invest 1/10. Even if you lose it all, everyone still has 90% in the bank. The rest of the profit you can share with everyone for drinks. If you make money, you can invest more.
In the fall of 1972, Milken's junk bond department, with $5,000 in support, gradually developed at Drexel Burnham Lambert. In the first year, it helped more than 50 small and medium-sized enterprises complete junk bond issuances.
Mike, this is incredible. Starting from $5,000, we can now do hundreds of millions of dollars in business a year.
We are just getting started. Remember, we are not speculating in junk bonds. We are lending money to those small and medium-sized enterprises that are looked down upon by Wall Street so that they can survive and hire people. This is our real business.
No one called it garbage because they knew that the real risk is actually in the places Wall Street looks down upon. As long as the default rate is strictly controlled, junk bonds always make more money than national bonds. This is Milken's secret. In this way, over 10 years, Milken's junk bond empire was built. The entire Wall Street knew about it. Drexel Burnham Lambert, relying on junk bonds, changed from a small brokerage to a top player on Wall Street, and Milken himself became a billionaire. In 173, the crisis came. The junk bond market had grown large, and the entire Wall Street was jealous. Soon the SEC set its sights on Milken, and many people said he illegally manipulated the market and engaged in insider trading.
Mike, the SEC investigation is very strict now. Many people have come forward to say we manipulated prices. What should we do?
We do price discovery and lend money to small and medium-sized enterprises. Where is the illegal part? Wall Street doesn't do it themselves. We did it and made money, so they say we violated the rules. It is ridiculous.
In this way, the investigation lasted for more than 10 years. Milken did business while dealing with the SEC investigation until 1986, a bigger crisis came. Wall Street competitors threw out a lot of evidence and directly sued Milken into prison. In 190, Milken pleaded guilty to 6 charges and was sentenced to 10 years in prison. The hundreds of billions of empire collapsed overnight. The junk bond king of Wall Street just went to prison like that. In the summer of 1974, SEC agents raided Milken's office. Everyone in the entire department stopped working. Investigators packed up all junk bond-related documents and took them away.
Look, the CC has started to act. They say all these are illegal transactions. We're all finished.
What are you panicking about? We were just doing normal issuances. The average default rate is only 18.5%, lower than the bank bad debt rate. We re-legal. They won. T find anything.
But the media has reported it. We've already lost in the court of public opinion.
The rules are there. We didn't do anything wrong. It will all be cleared up in the end. Don't be afraid.
Overnight, all the old Wall Street investment banks united to take down Milken. All media were scolding junk bonds as a scam. All large institutions dared not do business with Milken, and the SEC was watching him every day, treating him as a piece of fat.
This immigrant kid dares to steal our business. If we don't put him in prison, where will Wall Street's face go?
That's right. His junk bonds are already illegal. As long as we come up with some evidence, the SEC will definitely take him down.
In this way, the entire Wall Street was saying Milken violated the rules. A lot of evidence was piled up, even though many of them were forged. The media reported wildly, and the entire United States thought Milken was a liar. Finally, the government prosecutor couldn't stand the public opinion pressure, directly prosecuted Milken and demanded a heavy sentence. This time, Milken was really in danger. In 1990, Milken's trial began, and the entire Wall Street was watching. Now Wall Street is divided into two factions. One supports Milken, and the other wants to completely destroy him.
He helped so many small and medium-sized enterprises survive and created hundreds of thousands of jobs. What law did he break? He just stole the business from your old investment banks.
He is a liar, manipulating the market, engaging in insider trading, destroying Wall Street order. He must be severely punished.
I have nothing to say. I did what I thought was right. Rules are rules. I accept whatever sentence you give.
Finally, to end the lawsuit as soon as possible, Milken pleaded guilty to 6 less serious charges in exchange for a 10-year prison sentence. He did not appeal and went directly to prison. In 1993, Milken had been in prison for 3 years. Except for the daily outdoor exercise, he spent all his time reading. He started reading about cancer treatment because he himself had prostate cancer.
You're already in this state, still reading. You used to be a Wall Street tycoon. Why are you studying cancer now?
I made so much money before, but I still ended up in prison. Why? Because I was too hasty and broke the rules. Now I want to change the battlefield and help people with cancer find a way to live.
It was in prison that Milken first came into contact with CAR T-cell therapy. At that time, CAR T was just a concept in the laboratory. No one believed it could cure cancer. But Milken saw at a glance that this was the next junk bond, underestimated by everyone but able to change the world.
Wall Street underestimated junk bonds. The medical community underestimates CAR. Huh. I will let everyone see their true value.
In 197, Milken was released from prison early for good behavior. As soon as he got out, he did something that shocked the entire Wall Street. He took out all his remaining money and started raising funds for the research and development of CAR T therapy.
Mike, you just got out. You don't have much money left. Can't you just enjoy your retirement? Why do you have to do such a money-burning research?
I broke the rules on Wall Street before and was punished. Now, I will use what I know to help cancer patients break the rules of medicine, so that those abandoned patients can survive. This is my redemption.
Many old subordinates who used to make money with Milken, and many entrepreneurs he had saved, heard that he was going to work on CAR T, all came to invest. Soon, Milken raised $500 million and established a venture capital fund specifically for investing in CAR T.
Back then, I lent money to small and medium-sized enterprises and changed Wall Street. Today I invest in CAR T, and I will definitely change cancer treatment.
Milken invested money in CAR T, but the entire medical community was not optimistic about it. Many experts jumped out and scolded him, saying he was just a Wall Street liar who didn't understand medicine at all and came to circle money.
Mr. Milken, you are a convicted financial trafficker. What do you know about cancer treatment? CAR T is just a toy in the laboratory. It will never work. You should stop now.
Professor, you do research and only look at academic papers. No one is willing to invest in early-stage projects, and many good projects die because of lack of money. I will invest money to let good projects go on. Whether it works or not, we will know after we try.
You just want to hype the concept and circle money. We don't welcome you in the medical community.
Let's see the results in 5 years. If CAR T cures cancer, you will know I'm right.
In 2010, the first CAR T clinical trial invested by Milken began. The first patient was a 7-year-old girl with advanced leukemia. All treatments had failed, and CAR T was the only last option left.
Mr. Milken, the little girl is in very bad condition. The risk of experimental failure is very high. Do we really have to do it?
She has no other options. If we don't try, she will definitely die. If we try, there is still a chance for her to live. Do it with confidence. I will pay for the money, and I will take responsibility if something goes wrong.
Thank you, Mr. Milken. Thank you for giving my daughter a chance. No matter whether it works or not, I thank you.
In this way, the first CAR-T patient received the modified T cells. The entire medical team was watching nervously, waiting for the results. A month passed, and it was time for the re-examination. The entire medical team was very nervous, and Milken was also waiting outside. Everyone knew that if this worked, the entire cancer treatment would be rewritten.
Oh my God. On the CT scan, the original tumor is completely gone. There is no residual at all.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Milken. Thank you for giving my daughter a second life.
You don't need to thank me. Thank the rules. Back then, Wall Street didn't believe in junk bonds. Now the medical community doesn't believe in CAR. But as long as we abide by the rules and do things seriously, undervalued things will eventually shine.
In 2020, Milken was 74 years old. The CAR-T therapy he invested in had been successful. Millions of cancer patients around the world have gained new life because of CAR-T. The entire medical community has acknowledged that CAR-T, which was looked down upon by everyone back then, is now a pillar technology for cancer treatment.
Mr. Milken, you have gone from being the king of junk bonds to prison, and then to investing in CAR. Your life has been full of ups and downs. What is the most important thing you can summarize at the end?
I have made mistakes and accomplished things in my life. My final word is, rules are light. Whether it is finance or medicine, being undervalued is not scary, and breaking the rules is not scary either. But you have to respect the rules, abide by the rules, and work within the rules. Undervalued things will eventually shine.
This is Milken's life, from a slum kid to the king of Wall Street to a prisoner in prison, and finally to the savior of cancer patients. He spent his entire life giving undervalued things a chance to shine, and finally, he also completed his own redemption. Rules are light. This sentence is for everyone who is working hard.